What's up guys, Intelitech Studios here, and today will be a tutorial on how to replace the headlight bulb on your Bissell upright vacuum cleaner. Now the headlight is simply a light that is attached to the front of your Bissell vacuum cleaner depending on what model you have. A lot of newer Bissell models, in fact the majority if not all of new Bissell models, do not have a headlight bulb installed. So this tutorial is mainly for those who have an older Bissell vacuum that features a front-mounted headlight. Now this tutorial is also mostly designed for upright vacuum cleaners, specifically in the PowerForce, CleanView, PowerGlide, PowerTrack, and various other series vacuum cleaners, usually with one of these two body styles as an example. And it's pretty easy to tell if your model has a headlight. Just simply look on the front and see if there's a light. Pretty simple. So if your headlight bulb is burned out, then replacing it is definitely a good idea. Now you don't have to replace it. You can still use your vacuum just fine without the headlight. It'll essentially be just as functional as vacuums that don't have a headlight. So that is something, that you don't necessarily have to change in order to keep your vacuum running and cleaning properly. But if you'd like to actually utilize the feature of the light on the front of your vacuum, then replacing the headlight bulb is a good way to do so if your bulb, again, is burned out. Now, there's two different styles of Bissell headlight bulb, and I just realized that these are both the same exact style. Well, that wasn't exactly helpful then, wasn't it? Well, there's basically two styles of headlight bulb. There's one style where there are two Phillips head screws, one on either side of the lens cover. And for those vacuums, you would simply use a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew the cover and pull it straight out. And then there are some other headlight covers, like these as an example, where there is a simple latch on one side of the cover. And for those machines, you would use a flat tip screwdriver, basically as a wedge, to pull off the lens cover. So we're going to demonstrate the latter right now because I need to replace the headlight bulb in my Bissell PowerForce bagless. Now, there's also two different types of headlight bulb. As you can see in this one, this headlight bulb is a little bit larger. That may be a little bit harder to see. Whereas this headlight that I'll be replacing in this tutorial is a little bit of a smaller bulb. So you'll need to refer to your vacuum's owner's manual, or at the very least, Google your model number, and you can figure out which bulb you need for your machine. If you want to find the model number of your vacuum, most Bissell upright vacuums have the model number on a sticker towards the back of the machine. So for example, this model is model 6594-W. And you can also see that my particular model was manufactured on the 154th day of 2005. So that's how you can basically figure out what headlight bulb you need. Or if your vacuum has the old bulb installed, then you can very easily just grab a new bulb and see if it's the right kind or not. Now there's only two different types of bulbs, and they're only like, $2 a piece. So if you go to Bissell's website and you register your machine and then you go under replacement parts, you'll be able to see the proper headlight bulb for your machine if you're worried about it. Or again, look up your model number and download a PDF of the user's manual for your vacuum, and again, it'll show the type of headlight bulb that you need. And again, worst case scenario, just buy one of each type, they're only $2 a piece, and then return the one that isn't the one for your vacuum. So anyways, we've wasted enough time. Let's go ahead and actually do this process. It's very simple. So first we want to do is we want to recline the machine into the downwards position and lay it flat, just like this. So that way you have full access to the headlight lens cover. Then again, since my particular unit has the latch style for the headlight cover, I'm going to put the flathead screwdriver in where that tab is, and I'm going to simply turn it in order to pull this out. And you want to be careful because you don't want to accidentally break your lens cover. There we go. It's actually best to just kind of put your thumb towards it so you're actually pushing the tab itself and then pushing up and not actually wedging the entire screwdriver, because you could end up damaging the lens as a result. So now we just lift the lens off the top. There is a little notch on the other side, and then the latch on this side, again for my particular machine. So now here's the headlight bulb. Now if it's the larger headlight, the larger style headlight, the wide beam headlight, you actually twist it to pull it out, and I'll show that in just a second. But for this particular machine, we actually just grab the bulb. Since it's the smaller headlight bulb, we just grab it and pull it straight out. Now you want to be careful, and you obviously don't want to squish the bulb too hard and snap it, because it is glass and it very well could cut you or get glass shards inside your machine, so you want to be careful about that. But you shouldn't have to pull it very hard. You can just kind of wiggle it and pull it straight out. And again, you can see this one is like a little notch. So that's the old headlight bulb. And I put the new bulb right there. Now this actually isn't a new bulb in my case. I'm just grabbing this from another machine that I know has a good headlight bulb in it. Obviously, if this is your only vacuum, you'll have to buy an entire replacement bulb. Unless you happen to have another vacuum that has the exact same headlight bulb, which is probably not likely. But again, so we just take the new headlight bulb, and we take the flat side and line it up with this little enclosure right here, and just push it into place until it clicks. Just like that, until it snaps into place. And again, you want to be careful because you don't want to snap the bulb, and you also don't want the little magic light maker thingy inside to break, and then as a result the bulb doesn't work. So then once you have the new bulb installed, you want to take this little latch. Again, for my particular example, you want to line this latch up with the left side and then click it down into the right side. Just like that. And here is an example of the large headlight bulb. You can see this one actually has a little notch. So for the large headlight bulb, you simply push it a little bit so that way you can turn it. Just like that. So push it in and then turn it, and then you're able to remove the bulb. And then to place it back in, again, just line it up and then twist it and let it go so it locks into place. Now, if your machine has dust in the headlight lens mount or in the lens cover, then you want to take some sort of sponge or some other cleaning accessory, like maybe a damp rag with some Windex or some all-purpose cleaner, and you just want to wipe off the lens and make sure there's no dust on it. And also, once you take out your old bulb, which may or may not be covered in dust depending on how long you've had your machine, again, it's harder to do with one hand, but once we take that out, we can see there's some dust on the inside of this lens mount, so we want to just take a sponge or a rag or something like that and just wipe it down and make sure everything's nice and clean. That way there's no dust that can potentially get in the way of your headlight bulb or prevent it from shining as bright as it can. So once that's all cleaned out, if there's a tiny little bit of moisture in here, it's not the end of the world. As long as it's not like sopping wet. If there's just a very small, minute amount of moisture, as long as it's not actually in the headlight connector, then it's fine. Then we want to place that bulb back in, or again, if you're replacing it, you want to place the new bulb in its spot. And again, with this particular example, you want to line up the left side and click the right side in place. And again, if your machine has a screw on either side to hold in the lens cover, then you want to make sure you're putting the lens on correctly in the correct orientation and screwing in the two Phillips head screws. Don't use any sort of electric screwdriver, or at the very least, if you are, put it on the very lowest possible torque setting so you don't damage the lens or the plastic housing. Once you get the replacement lens on, it's time to return your machine to the upright position. And now we can plug it in and test it out and see if this new bulb works. As you can see, my vacuum cleaner is plugged in, and I've reduced the lighting so that we can see if this headlight is actually working. So let's test it out right now. Yeah, so your vacuum's not supposed to do that. Your vacuum is actually supposed to use the headlight, and it's supposed to work. As you can see, mine worked for a couple seconds, and then it blew out. So, oops. I can assure you that I did install the bulb correctly, though, so hopefully you don't have the same misfortune as I just did. So, it looks like for my particular needs, I will have to actually purchase a new replacement bulb and not try to hijack one from another used machine. However, if you buy an actual brand new bulb, then you won't have that issue. So, you could see for a sec how it was supposed to work, but in my particular case, since I used a used bulb, I have blown out that used bulb. So I'll have to actually purchase a brand new bulb and follow up with this video. But again, I bought them before. They're only like $2 or $3 on Bissell's website last I checked. Even if they're like $5, no big deal. So at least I got a nice video out of it, and hopefully it helped you guys figure out how to replace your headlight bulb. So that's good. Anyways, this is Intelitech Studios signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, and happy vacuuming.